Tonight we are holding people in power accountable with the Two on Your Side investigation revealing the Erie County Clerk misspent $100,000 in taxpayer money.
The decision could cost Mickey Kearns big time, with the potential of millions of dollars in fines. And it all relates to his advertising that you paid for.
Tonight, Channel 2's Michael Wooten takes tough questions to Kearns about his illegal practices in this Two on Your Side original report.
We are the business office of Erie County.
Clerk Mickey Kearns runs Erie County's auto bureaus. His workers process hundreds of thousands of court, mortgage, and business records, and he grants pistol permits. It's a busy office.
So we try to utilize as many ways to communicate with people as possible,
including through paid advertising. Kearns requested and received $100,000 in his budget last year to spread the word about making a DMV appointment, the Think a Vet program, the importance of renewing local, and more.
We don't want people to come in without the proper documentation. We want to communicate to the public.
So he purchased ads, a lot of them, not just in print, but also on the radio. Thousands, by our count, broadcast on more than a dozen different stations. Plus,
good morning, Buffalo. Welcome to Catching Up with the Clerk on the legendary WFO.
More than $14,000 on Catching Up with the Clerk, Kearns' weekly half-hour radio show.
I am your host and Erie County Clerk, Michael Mickey Kearns.
Through open records requests, Two on Your Side got invoices for all that print and radio advertising. It adds up to $100,000 of your money, and it all appears to be illegal. Public Officers Law Section 73B says no elected government official shall knowingly appear in any advertisement or promotion if it's paid using public funds. In other words, Kearns should not have put his face in those ads and should not have used his voice in those radio spots.
We wouldn't have done it.
To his credit, he answered my questions for 30 minutes.
You just defended the advertising, but the law is crystal clear that you can't appear in any of those ads. Why did you use your voice and put your picture in so many of them?
So here, I want you to understand that there's a process in Erie County.
Kearns insisted someone in the legislature, county executive's office, or the comptroller should have stopped him, even though they never approved his ads, just the money to pay for them.
This fell through the cracks. It's a county government problem. One, there's no county policy.
But there's a state law.
There is a state law, and we know that there's a state law. I'm not an attorney. My job is to process transactions, accept paperwork, do the best job, and we do a pretty darn good job of it here in Erie County. I've been elected 3 times as county clerk.
But some people watching this may think it sounds like you're blaming other people. Isn't it your job to make sure you're operating within the law?
It's everyone's job. It's everyone's job, Michael.
Kearns specifically called out County Comptroller Kevin Hardwick, who informed Kearns after the November election that he had ethical concerns with the ads. The Buffalo News reported on the controversy.
It's his job. It's his oversight to look at this and to know. Now, if he heard that during the campaign and said, County Clerk, stop, I think there's a problem. He didn't say anything.
But at the time, the focus was on the ethics of the ads, not the legality. After doing some homework, Hardwick sent a memo to all elected officials notifying them of the law that bans ads featuring their face or voice. That was January 5th.
I have copies of invoices that you continued to do these radio shows with taxpayer money after you got that memo.
We have not done anything going forward. Those are late invoices from the previous year.
So you haven't done any in the month of January or February?
Nothing. Michael, we have immediately stopped.
But that's not true.
We talk about important things in the clerk's office.
This is Kearns hosting his radio show 9 days after he got the memo telling him it was illegal. Hardwick's office received a $900 invoice for the January episodes and responded to the radio station saying, quote, "My office cannot issue a county payment for these services."
The elected official themselves cannot appear in this type of advertising.
Attorney Leslie Silva says the law in this case is pretty simple, and it's there for a reason.
You don't want your incumbents having an unfair advantage and being able to promote all of the good that they have done using taxpayer funds.
If, for instance, these radio ads were voiced by someone else, or you didn't include the picture of the office holder, this all would have been permissible.
Seemingly so, based on the very plain reading of the statute, yes.
We found lots of government ads that did not violate the law because the mayor, the county executive, and the governor did not use their faces in these paid ads. Silva says politicians have a duty to know the law. If you want to advertise with your face or voice, pay with campaign funds, not taxpayer dollars.
Ignorance isn't an excuse for doing this, right?
Ignorance is not a defense. When you are a candidate or when you are a public official, it's your responsibility to know what you can and cannot do, especially when taxpayer funds are involved.
She said ignorance is no excuse for violating the law.
Well, I also did look at the law, and I do think intent is part of that.
Kearns told me he has learned his lesson.
You wish you hadn't run these ads the way you ran them.
Correct. Hindsight's 20/20. We will not do that again. Obviously, I will adhere to the law.
Well, Michael, you mentioned there is potential for millions in fines here?
Yeah, the potential for it. That's because the law says if an elected official advertises with his or her voice using taxpayer money, as we saw here, it is a fine of at least $1,000 and up to $5,000. Well, Mickey Kearns did that nearly 4,000 times, according to the documents that we reviewed. So that would add up to many millions of dollars. Now, it's up to the Attorney General to decide whether or not to seek damages in a civil proceeding. We're told right now there has been no referral to the AG's office, so right now there is no investigation, but that could change. But again, potentially millions of dollars in fines. Our legal analyst guy said that she would expect there will be some type of settlement here because who's going to pay $17, $18 million? Maybe it would involve him paying back the county out of campaign funds. We'll just have to see how.
But he says that he has stopped doing this practice now, right?
But then we saw the one radio show. So
Right.
there are still questions to be asked here. But again, to his credit, Mickey Kearns sat down with me for 30 minutes and he answered the questions, and we'll see how it plays out.
The tough questions.
Yeah, that's right.
Could be a harsh, expensive lesson for him.
Yeah, no doubt.